welcome to the first Keep Em Runnin podcast. We have this little YouTube channel here, and if you're one of our currently counting 400 subscribers, which I'm very proud of, I think we've done very well to get that many. I know that's not a lot, it's a little channel, but we've got an important message. Obviously, there is we want to keep old cars running, and on the face of it, that's what our channel is about. However, there is a more important message that we feel needs to be put across as to why we think we need to keep old cars running. And that is basically that the car industry is in chaos, crisis. And I actually think the end of the car if we are not wary of what's going on. And I don't just mean the current spate of electrical cars. We'll get into these subjects as we talk, but new cars generally are not as good as old cars. And we'll talk at length about why we believe that. But before I do, let me introduce the we. If you've watched the channel before, and hopefully you have, and if not, go and look at some of the videos. They're very good. We have two of our contributors to the channel here today. We have Paddy.
Hello.
And we have Ben.
Hello.
And I'm Dylan. And we're going to get into, for our first podcast, a little conversation about why we think it's so important. And we were just talking then off camera about, well, Ben, you kind of started off there about this sort of next generation of cars.
So I think all of us here agree the new cars that are coming out today, there's a few good ones, but for the majority, they're all a load of rubbish. They're sort of, I mean, what's wrong with them? Overcomplicated. Too big, poorly designed generally, just ugly. All of them look the same.
Difficult to fix, expensive to fix.
I would say
maintain.
I would also say getting to a point of impossible to fix.
Yeah.
I know there's several other car YouTubers that are pointing this out. The mighty Matt Armstrong, who we all love, and he is pointing out that he's fixing new cars. I mean, he gets these cars that are crashed in the last few months or whatever, some amazing cars. And he's even noticing over just a few years how they're getting more and more impossible. Just think, what's this thing?
They're actually putting the barriers in place, aren't they, to stop you fixing them?
Yeah, and I don't think it's controversial to say it has to be deliberate. Now, there may be reasons pro-offered, but I don't think they're very honest reasons. I mean, he says thing as he keeps fixing these Porsche GT3s. We love Porsches, certainly old Porsches. And it's this pyro fuse thing, isn't it? So the pyro fuse goes when the car crashes, the airbags are deployed, and that's the safety feature, so you can't start it, and blah, blah, blah. Makes sense. But the pyro fuses used to be next to the battery. He now has to, on these GT3s, these 992s, take the entire dashboard
dismantle the car to get to this.
Right into, and there's just no honest reason for it. So hard to maintain. I would say the electrical ones, I mean, there's a big thing, isn't it? They go around and say they're maintenance free because there's no moving parts, which is the most bizarre thing I've ever heard anyone say, that they believe a car has no moving parts. It's absolute nonsense. But I would put it another way. It's not that they're maintenance free, it's that they're unmaintainable. You can't fix these things. Yeah. Or, okay, somebody might be able to, but let's face it, us car enthusiasts, where do you start? Rubber boots and thick gloves, I think, is where you start. Because I won't go anywhere near it.
And the old people are driving these things, and inexperienced drivers driving these really powerful cars with very light accelerators and no noise. So you don't actually feel how fast you're going and how quickly you can cause a hell of a lot of damage, not only to yourself, but also to others on the road. And I've seen that in our hometown. There's been several crashes where people have come round corners and are trying to park, Sainsbury's car park, that
Really,
kind of thing.
you've seen that?
There's been more and more crashes recently,
Right.
and very unusual. So the way that they've crashed, or the cars even turned over.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine, I've no proof of this, but I can only imagine that if somebody who's a bit inexperienced puts their foot down on the accelerator a little bit too much, and you've got that instant power with no feeling behind it.
I mean, I've not as yet sort of witnessed them locally or anything, but I think it's a matter of time. But certainly many reports of it out. Another shout out to a great YouTuber, Jeff Buys Cars, and he sort of points to these articles where there's been these sort of electrical things going through shop windows, and what was the one came flying out of the airport multi-story car park or something. And it's like, well, look, okay, we don't know exactly what happened in these instances, but the truth is these vehicles have got hundreds of brake horsepower, 0 to 60 performances that was, if you imagine when this thing came out, that sort of performance level, it's like a Group B rally car kind of speed. It's like, and you put in old grannies in these things and stuff. They get out of 150 brake horsepower Astra and put them in a 400 brake horsepower 2-ton. I mean, are we getting to 3-ton with the batteries and things?
I think the biggest ones are up in the high twos. So,
but it's this point that you say. It's like you don't get this engine noise, and I think and they're not manual, so I think that they are pressing a pedal, the wrong one.
Yes, quite possibly.
And the instinct when you want to brake is to press the wrong pedal harder. It's making no noise to give an indication.
yeah.
And it flies through. It's just an insanity.
It is scary.
Yeah.
Of course, that's just one.
And I also feel sorry for the kids, you know, because my boy, he's 19. He's got his first car.
Yeah.
And it's a petrol car, and he loves it. But the way that we see things going, more and more petrol cars are leaving our roads. And whether that's through scrappage schemes or high taxes, high petrol prices, high insurance prices, all of these things, they're kind of pricing people out of the things that our dreams were made of as kids.
And I think the problem is these simple cheap cars aren't being replaced by new ones. The next generation of old cars
That's the big issue, isn't it?
Is not looking good.
Yeah, I mean, we're currently able to. Well, here now we got several examples. We'll try and if the podcast's popular, people say do another. We'll listen to you idiots again. Why not? We'll try and put a different nice old car on here each time.
We should actually talk. Maybe not this podcast, but we should do a little bit about whatever car is.
And we will.
behind
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
That'd be a nice
I
thing to
was
do.
thinking it'd be. Do you know what? This is the first podcast. We've never done this before. You can probably tell we don't really know how to do this. We're a little bit nervous. We're a bit self-conscious, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
But we were sort of thinking, should we have, like, if we do it each week, each month, whatever, a little section where we go, well, here's the car we've been working on, here's some news articles that we want to discuss. And we do, actually. I know we sort of, a lot of that stuff's quite negative, but we want this to be a positive. And I do think there is a positive. And I was going to get to the point of what led me into that was just this one particular car, and there are many. This 25 years old, and they're brilliant. I mean, they are amazing. And this thing is under £5,000. You can get even cheaper than that if you're better at buying cars than I am, but this was just under £5,000. I'm very happy with it, to be fair. But I can work on it. I look at it underneath. This thing doesn't rot. There's no rust. It's I've renewed various components. Watch the videos to find out. I'm not going to give it all away, and they're just wonderful. And I just when I drive this thing, Ben, we may have.
Yeah.
Can we get a continuity thing here? This might have gone to the Nürburgring, or maybe that is going to the Nürburgring, and it hasn't really happened yet. And it may have actually. We were bothering things, hypothetically, in the future, because it hasn't happened yet. We were bothering things with this car, just with its handling and stuff. Yeah. These newer 500 brake cars. Okay, and I have, we'll maybe have that one. So I have a more modern car, but it's a 2019 car. Mm-hmm. I think that's the end. I think it's a swan song car. It was a reason I bought that car. And we were saying, actually, let's put it this way. I'm going to put a question to you both. What new car would you buy today?
Brand new.
Brand new. It's going to be brand new in the showroom now, right now. What would you...
Budget-wise, what we're saying, because if you're on an everyday kind of budget, your options really...
Exactly. Okay, I'm going to say... and this is how crazy the numbers are nowadays. I'm going to say under £50,000. Yeah, right. What are you going to get?
It's mad. I mean, years ago, you could have got anything for under £50,000. Only a few years ago.
£50,000. I can't even believe that they're the numbers that we're at.
Yeah, I mean,
just crazy.
If we had a laptop in front of us, we could do a bit of car shopping, but I can't think of anything. I mean, Yaris GR, do they make that still?
Oh, that's a good shout. That's a good shout. That's probably...
It's got to be a Toyota, I think. It'd be Yaris GR or the...
GR86, stop making it.
Yeah, GR's...
Stop making
GT
it.
Still, or is both of them?
We'll sense check it and chuck something on the screen maybe. But the GR86 is done. That's it.
Okay.
I think this Yaris GR, I don't think they'll do another one after that.
No.
On the current trajectory.
Yeah, I mean that's...
Unless things change.
I think that would be my answer if they sell it, but...
Yeah, that's a good shout.
How much is one of those brand new? I don't know. They're probably
going to be at 40 something.
Yeah, it's going to be cutting it close.
What are you saying, Paddy?
I have no idea. I mean, at the moment, I've got a hybrid BMW that I was kind of forced into by the government because
we're not going to throw you out.
Levels as company car owners meant that I had to go for something
if I remember right.
This. But I do enjoy driving it, I must say. But my colleagues who have full electric cars really struggle to work a lot of the time because we're travelling the country and they've got to plan their journeys accordingly. They've got to charge up on motorway services. They've got to sit in services for like an hour to charge up in between appointments. I mean, that's madness, surely.
I mean, I
get electric cars for driving around the town, doing little runs here and there. But for big journeys, it just doesn't work. And imagine living in Australia with an electric car. You'd need a quad of solar panels on your trailer, wouldn't you? Just to keep your battery charged up, so you don't die in the desert.
Did you hear about this recent record that Polestar?
Oh yeah. Have you heard about this?
Ben, pass me my phone because I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah. So.
Go on.
Polestar set it was a range record, wasn't it? Is that the one?
The Polestar 3 set a Guinness World Record in 2025, last month, for the longest journey by a production battery-powered electric SUV on a single charge, covering a staggering 581.3 miles. Be fair, if like that was like a, and I'm going to show you another example to show you how really unimpressive even that is, but if that was what you managed on a full tank of gas in any car, you'd be like, bragging rights. Yeah. That's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah. 581.3 miles. However, it took 22 hours and 57 minutes.
Because where were they driving?
They were driving in the UK,
Yeah, in the UK.
on selected roads.
Oh, selected quiet
Yeah.
roads by any chance.
Now, let's.
I think
what-
they were holding stuff up. They had
Were
like
they holding the traffic
police
up?
escort.
What speed were they going?
I didn't think I did like they were doing like an average of 25 miles an hour.
Well,
or something.
it'd be easy to work out, wouldn't it? 500 and whatever miles divided by 24 hours.
When I picture this record being done, I imagine they had those. What do you call those? You know, like curling sweepers. They
Yeah.
do the sweep in front of the
Wiping the stones
two
and-
wheels.
They actually got stopped by the police
Oh, did they?
for driving too slow.
Oh, wow.
But
So this reminds me of the crazy miles per gallon stories that car manufacturers were putting their paperwork for their sales spiel.
Yeah,
for,
you'd always see it in the adverts, wouldn't you, at the bottom?
like my car, it's something like 150 miles per gallon you get out of it. Well, no, actually I get 40 miles per gallon on average.
Yeah. But if you have the Polestar team driving, then you will get,
Yeah, maybe.
you'll get that 150.
But I'll be working one day a week, but getting paid for a full 5, I guess.
now in contrast, apparently Skoda is the correct pronunciation. Skoda completed a range test with an unmodified diesel, I think it was. Check all this out yourselves. And they covered, you can do the conversion yourselves as well, 2,831 kilometres on one tank. I don't know, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, I remember. Do you remember Jeremy Clarkson driving up to Edinburgh and back in was it an Audi A8?
Yeah,
or
I think I
something
do,
like that?
yeah.
And one
V10
tank.
diesel, I think it was.
Yeah, and he drove all the way
Like
up
an 800
and back.
mile thing or
400,
something.
yeah, 800 miles. That was it. And he did it on one tank. He had to turn the aircon off and the radio on the last few miles just because he was panicking. But that was the day we knew that we had great cars, wasn't it?
Well, and I'm glad you've got, that's a perfect segue, because what I want to get to the point of is I think there's a golden era. And that golden era is, I say it's about the mid-2000s.
Yeah.
And ever since then,
Yeah.
it's been in some form of decline. I would say actually we have evidence, and I think in cars that we have, and we'll cover some stuff at some point about Ben's 34-year-old Mercedes at some point, and our feelings about that car, and when we saw how it was, and how the progression that you would have expected from that clearly isn't there. And I think there was a lot of evidence. We all know about the Volkswagen scandal of the emissions, diesel emissions stuff, but there was it was shown that there was an element of collusion between the German manufacturers, and that technology was held back deliberately. I think even cars like this got caught in it, where there was I think there was a race about how quick they got the convertible tops down or something. The electric car, I can't remember that one, and they agreed that it was like, I think that's fine, you know, it's seconds, it's no problem, no big deal. But there was this sort of collusion between them to sort of say, let's not outcompete each other. But at the same time, it seems there's been this decline. The question is, and maybe we'll get to the opinions, maybe we'll see in comments, of whether this decline was deliberate.
There was a time when, and you touched on it just now, where cars were just great. They were solid, they didn't rust. They went for miles between services and oil changes, and parts would just last forever, it seemed. And then I noticed it between changing of company cars. I used to have an Audi A4 estate, and it was great. And when you closed the doors, it was so solid. It was solid to drive. You could feel it in the steering wheel. I think it was around 2017. I got a new company car, which was another Audi A4 estate, and the difference.
It got worse.
The door felt lighter. The steering felt lighter.
yeah.
And one noticeable thing was the buttons on the dashboard. Some of them became touch buttons. And I really didn't like that because you couldn't feel while you're driving. You don't want to take your eyes off the road. You didn't know whether you'd actually press the button or not. And that's just got worse as well. Now everything's on a blooming screen. And you're driving, you want to turn the heating up, and you're like, it's like changing channel on a touchscreen TV with no buttons.
That was to the point we were making at the beginning about they're more dangerous. Not just because of the things we said about them driving through walls and shop windows and stuff, but the levels of distraction in them. Yeah. I do not see how strapping a 30-inch, I don't know how big they are. Exactly. They are getting bigger as well.
But to be fair, there are driving aids. So I'm going to take one driving aid that I turn off every single time in every car that I drive, and that's the stay in your lane.
Lane departure warning.
Do you know? Driving down the road, and so scenario is driving down the road, I want to turn the heating up. So I'm driving on the motorway, I turn the heating up, and I can look at that screen for ages because if I go out of my lane or if I'm getting too close to a car in front and you go to turn the heating up and you don't have to look at the road because your car's going to keep you in the lane. Well, that's just fine. Driving around a normal road, where in England, our road's quite narrow, and sometimes you have cars parked on these roads, on these narrow roads, and I've had it on several occasions where I'm driving down a road, there's this big red light saying, you're going to crash into a car. I can see the car in front of me, and I'm just going to go around it. But in going around it, you cross the white lines in the middle of the road, and your car's saying, you're going to crash. And as you go into the middle of the road, your car's then trying to ram you into the car that's parked there. And
I've heard about this. I mean, I wouldn't bloody go anywhere near these things, but I've heard about this. And it's craziness, isn't it? I mean, it does seem as though, because, I mean, we used to, car things used to be like safety was paramount. And it does seem as though they've gone, oh yeah, we've added all these distractions in the car. And I was like, well, why did we do that? Yeah. And they've gone, because we've done that, we now need the car to drive itself. Yeah. But then we've got this problem, like, this madness of the autopilot thing with Tesla. And they say, but you shouldn't take your hands off the wheel or not look at the road and be ready to take over control at any time. It's like, come on, human beings' focus doesn't work like that. I mean, one of the things I love about driving is how engaging that experience is. And I don't want to be distracted from it. And it's the wrong thing to do. I mean, the way I say it is, you need something to warn you're departing lanes. You shouldn't be driving. Yeah. Because you're not focusing on what you're doing. Yeah. And sorry, I've got another point now. You've set me off now on that one. Because if we look at this, we've got this sort of idea that they want less cars on the road, and we're going to get more into that and whether they want us to have cars at all. But you know, there's the general premise that says we need less cars on the road. That's out there, right? So why are you creating these aids to help people keep driving when really they shouldn't be driving? I don't get it. You know, it just doesn't seem to add up. And I was right, when I passed my test, which is a long time ago, when I passed my test, 1990, I think, and you had to do, but we had no ABS, emergency stop was a thing. You had to be able to, and it might be raining that day. You've got to not skid. And the other thing where I think they still do the emergency stop, but you've got ABS. I mean, you can't get it wrong. Yeah. But anyway, ABS is a good thing, don't get me wrong. Yeah. But they used to always have to do 3 tricky manoeuvres. One was reversing into a parking space, like in a car park space. Yeah. One was reversing around a corner, which is really tricky when you first do it, and to maintain the same distance. And the other was parallel parking. Now, what I've heard, I haven't done one driving test any time recently.
When I passed my test, they only did one. So that was...
So that's been happening for a long time.
Yeah.
So it's like the standards of the driving test have been getting easier and easier. And we've got to this point where I actually admit I do think there are too many cars on the road.
Mm. Oh, when you go on the motorway, and by the way, talking about motorways, just briefly, there's still no motorway test.
Isn't this mad?
Yeah.
I mean, and which is why people are driving in the overtaking lane, holding up the whole of the M1 because they don't understand that they've got to go into the inside lane.
Middle lane cruisers.
Yeah.
Now, look,
Stop
you're welcome to stay.
No, you're not welcome to stay.
No, Paddy, come on. It's just a confidence thing. It's not your fault, as Paddy's explaining. You weren't taught. You don't understand that you're very dangerous because you're forcing people into your blind spot. Undertakers, and I don't mean people who bury people, people that undertake. Still, again, I don't mean people that bury people. Just be aware, this is the undertaker I'm talking to, you're in their blind spot. This person already, and I hope middle lane hoggy are listening to me, is already an unconfident driver. That's why they're in the middle lane, because they don't like changing lane. So they stay in the middle lane. Somebody explain I'm wrong and there's some other reason for it. But you're effectively reducing the width of the road by an entire lane.
Well, on sections of the M1, you've got 4 lanes.
Even worse.
The middle lane hoggers don't stay in the second lane; they stay in the third lane.
Yeah.
You've got 2 lanes on the inside, and trucks. Right, so your middle lane hogger is driving at 50 miles an hour.
It can't
in the third lane.
The truck can't get
and
past
I have
you at
seen
all.
these people.
And
a truck is not allowed to overtake you because they're not allowed in the outside lane.
Exactly.
It's just madness. But
how do we get onto middle lane
can
hoggers?
I-
No, because I wanted to finish your point for you.
Yeah.
Because
Thank you.
we go to Germany, you're welcome. We go to Germany a lot, and they have the autobahns. Now the autobahns, I mean, it's not 2 lanes for the most part across most of that country, which is a vast country, which is why the autobahn network is so important there. The sections of the autobahn have no speed limit whatsoever, and Germans do make some very fast cars. And you can travel at any speed you want safely in various sections. The reason it works is because of lane discipline. The drivers in Germany are vastly superior. And guess what? Autobahn driving, surprisingly, is part of their driving test.
Oh, that's a really good idea.
Who would have thought?
Why don't we do it? Can I just change the subject slightly? 20 mile an hour limits. Okay. I know nobody wants to talk about 20 mile an hour limits because it just makes you angry and frustrated. But I also think they're dangerous. And the reason being, you touched on it a minute ago, you love driving. I love driving. I love that feeling of being focused, driving the road, feeling the road, the weather changes and the sounds of the engine and all of those things. I love it. Now, if you make me go at 20 miles an hour, I'm bored out of my brain. And I'm not focusing anymore. I'm now looking at shop windows. I'm looking at that person over there. And I'm thinking, what am I going to have for my tea? And I'm not thinking at all about driving because I'm bored out of my brain. If I was able to drive at a speed relevant to the road that I'm driving on, I'm totally focused. Totally.
Yeah. I think it's making me think now about what we were just talking about the distractions in the car and things, and these ridiculous performance levels of these vehicles that I don't think anybody asked for, did they? And nobody asked for this level of technology. I don't think I remember anybody in the 1990s saying, "Oh, wouldn't it be great if I had a massive touchscreen TV in my car?" I don't think anybody said that.
No.
Well, you weren't. You never used to be allowed to have massive touchscreen TV. Well, you weren't allowed a TV.
I don't think it were
in your-
touchscreen TVs.
No, you weren't allowed a TV. So my friend, he had an Audi S8, I think it was.
Big one.
Yeah, big one. And he had a screen in there, and he wired it up so he could watch TV, live TV on it. And I'm sure that's probably illegal. But I used to think driving that car. He also a big car fan. He had a TVR. That's where my love of TVRs came from. But yeah, and I think what it was is maybe it was when he parks up outside a customer's house or whatever, a client's house, and he could just sit and watch EastEnders.
You see, a TVR would be much safer with an iPad strapped to the dashboard, because it wouldn't work.
Well, the iPad wouldn't work.
Or the car. Yeah, sorry TVR. No, yeah, we do love it. You know, people who keep those cars running are real heroes.
Yeah.
Because they are great cars. They just needed finishing, and I think that's what TVR owners do. They finish them.
Yeah.
But I did want to get to a positive point,
Yes.
because a lot of what we're saying is quite negative and whingy, and we're going to do more of it. But these new cars, and we touched on the price of these things. I think they are overvalued, and I don't think that's a controversial point. I mean, we talk about try and find a car for 50 grand that you want, and you can't. I mean, it's mad. So they're overvalued. They come with at least £10,000, £20,000 worth of technology you didn't want nor ask for. But the positive is that older cars, these cars in this sweet spot, are undervalued.
Yeah.
And this is what we want people
I
to
think
switch on to. Yeah.
particularly right now, timing wise, that golden era we
never
were
a better
talking
time.
about, you say mid 2000s, they're like bottom of the barrel prices for the most part. There's special cars in
So
the mix there,
massively
but
undervalued.
there's so many ordinary cars which, if people don't look after them now, they'll just disappear.
Yeah.
And their replacement coming down the line isn't half as good. But yeah, that's what we kind of want to champion, those old cars.
Yeah.
And make people realise how good they are, and not just the special ones, not the Type Rs and this and that. It's just we've got a little Honda CR-V sat outside, which is a great car.
175,000 miles.
It's a really good car.
19 years old, I think,
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with it.
yeah.
I mean, nothing.
Buying an old car like your CR-V, great car, love it. Can you imagine in 20 years' time having one of these new electric cars? And also the depreciation of these new electric cars. Somebody was saying the other day that there's an electric car that a year down the line, or 6 months down the line, it was only worth like 15 grand, 10 grand,
But
something,
I don't think it's
something
just
crazy
the
like
electric
that.
cars.
It's not just
I
the
think,
electric ones.
I think it's just all the new cars are too complicated. They're too hard to maintain. So when they are 20
And they're
years old,
expensive to maintain.
I don't know if you will be able to at a certain age. When they're really getting on.
Well, back to that point we were saying about like what Matt Armstrong's been putting out about the maintainability, of newer cars, even the petrol ones and things, but get into electric ones. And there's been a couple of things recently, haven't there? There's the sort of wet belt scandal, I will call it.
I've heard about that. What is a wet belt?
A ridiculous concept that if you explained it to a child, you'd say is a stupid idea.
So I only know a little bit about it,
Yeah,
so
go
I'll
on.
say, and you maybe can correct me. So
Yeah, I think you might know more, but go on.
well, I thought it was. So the timing belt on a traditional car. Some have timing chain. Some have the timing belt.
Yeah.
And over time, the belt deteriorates, and you should change it. Some engines, it's quite important to, because if that belt snaps, your engine's toast, basically.
Yeah.
So that's just a belt that's running in fresh air on the edge of the engine. they've now, on certain cars, I think Ford,
Yeah, so transits, I think,
Yeah.
have been particularly affected.
they're running that rubber belt through the engine oil in the bottom of
Yeah.
the pan. So it's now, instead of an external part, they've moved it internal, and it's running through the hot engine oil and just deteriorating, basically.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you...
Yeah, I mean, none of us are engineers here. I mean,
No.
all three of us know that's a bad idea.
An engineer more qualified than us might be able to explain how this idea is a good idea, but the execution clearly shows it isn't.
What is the purpose? Is it just I think they get like maybe 1 more miles per gallon?
Oh, is that what it's
I
about?
think so.
It's
That's what I
supposed to be
thought.
about economy.
Maybe I'm wrong there. I'm not sure.
I don't know, but
it
this is the
doesn't
thing,
last
isn't it?
as long.
I mean, a lot.
No.
Right.
Well, they've been failing. Let's put it that way.
Like electric cars have been failing as well.
To be fair, and I'm going to give some balance here. There are some impressive figures on how long electric, high mileage electric vehicles. And I do think, and I wouldn't be totally down on electric vehicles. I do think that they have their place, but they should be competing on a level playing field on their own merits.
Yeah.
And I would say that the electric car that is probably proven itself to be pretty damn good is the Tesla.
Yeah, it's got to be.
And there are examples of 500,000-mile ones and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So given their due, it does seem it is possible. It doesn't take away all the other stuff about charging availabilities and all that stuff.
Yeah. Because I was going to bring up like how long these cars are lasting and the cost of replacing them, and when some having a minor dink or they need some spare parts, they're actually being written off. Or if it needs a new battery and the cost of the battery is more than the car itself,
that point,
written off.
that point
And
definitely does come up about the batteries.
And to me, I mean, I'm fairly ignorant to all this stuff, I guess. But that doesn't sound environmentally friendly.
I mean,
if you've got a car that lasts forever, you can replace parts on it like this, so you can keep this car running for years and years and years. And even when like it's done 500,000 miles and it needs a new engine, you can just take the engine out and put a new one in, and it's not actually that much money to do that. Just need the expertise and a garage who is willing to do it, or you can do it yourself.
You've touched on the key point that some people might be totally disagreeing with us listening to this, and what they'll be screaming is, we've got to do this to save the planet. This is the thing, right? We've got to do this to save the planet. And there's the question, isn't it, I mean, it's obvious to me, or I think we can talk about the concepts around this, that keeping an old car running is much better for the planet than buying a new zero emissions car. That's then even forgetting about actually the power generation for the electric car is also considered, because you're not charging cars on solar panels. It's not happening.
If the problem is climate change and the environment, the current solution isn't the solution for that problem.
It doesn't look like it. I mean, I remember grandparents saying, make, do and mend. And I love that saying, because I mean, I'm no environmentalist, but I really care about our planet. And I will definitely make, do and mend before I buy something new. I feel that's a lot better for the environment and for the planet.
Really, with car companies, they should be making as few cars as possible to as high a standard as possible to make them last as long as possible.
Yeah. Do you know there's a stat, I don't know if it's still true, but there's a figure like this, it's something like 2/3 of all Porsches ever made are still running. 2/3? Something like that. I think it was in the owner's manual for this car, so that's 25 years old, this car, but the figures, I don't know what they would be today.
Yeah.
So I think there's one of the other things that people bring up about, well, I don't really want to run an old car because, first thing is this perception of reliability. And I think the wet belt thing was one. I'm going to name a particular engine. I've heard promised this Ingenium engine, and is that Land Rover? Is it?
Yeah, there's a nickname for that, isn't there?
Shits.
There's some clever little, I'm sure. There's something people come up with that. I'm sure there is. But carry on.
Tell us in the comments.
Tell us in the comments. So there's been this perception that was valid for a long time about new cars are more reliable. So you always had this thing, and again back to our era, I think it's the same for you, Ben, is that you had this, if it's got over 100,000 miles on it, but it used to be, and I think that's what I was kind of referring to with the old British Leyland days, it was like, yeah, that was it. It's dead.
Yeah.
It's over. 100,000 miles. And that's if the doors haven't fallen.
A Volvo was just getting run in at 100,000 miles, wasn't it?
And the old German cars, Swedish cars, and all of that.
I used to love my Volvo.
So they proved it. So that sort of this sort of perception that a newer car is more reliable because it's got a lower mileage car is more reliable. I think that's old. I think that's actually now upside down. Now there are certain new cars, and I think Jaguar Land Rover, let's face it, they're in massive trouble, aren't they? All over the place. Cyber attacks aside, they're already in a terrible phase. Jaguar rebrands and all the stuff. It seems to have gone absolutely nuts, that company. But there are these horrible stories of, I will tell you a personal one in a minute, of people buying a 80, 90, 120,000 pound Land Rover, it having a problem, them trying to get it fixed on warranty, and they're saying, oh, we can't because we've got such a backlog, or we can't get the parts, and they've got this huge brick that looks very nice sat on a driveway, and they're going out and buying a second-hand Picanto in the meantime so they can still get to the shops
keep them running.
To keep them running. Should have bought the Picanto and ditched the Land Rover, right? So this notion of the lower mileage car being more reliable.
Yeah.
However, a car that's done over 100,000 miles pretty much proved it's reliable.
Yes, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
Just think about these. 986 Boxster, by the way, wonderful car. We've got a lot of content on this, and we'll have more on it because I'm pretty much in love with these at the minute, and they're so cheap. But I kind of lost my point a bit there. I don't know what I was going to say about the IMS. So someone will know about the old IMS bearing. Paddy's got that look again, so I'm going to explain Paddy. So it's called the intermediate shaft bearing. Doesn't matter what that is exactly.
In the engine.
It's a bearing in the engine. Yeah. And when they first made these, they changed how many rollers were in the bearing, and you're right, and there was sort of a little gap where they were prone to failure. Well, I say prone to failure, they weren't really, actually. I think it was below 5% failure rate.
There were just
but it ended up having this sort of mythical beast sort of reputation. Yeah. But here's the thing is, if it's done over 100,000 miles and the IMS hasn't gone, it's probably fine. Yeah. Or they've already been done by now because people have bought them and gone, oh, I've got to get the IMS done because
it was a tricky job to do. It's not a quick.
You have to take the gearbox off and have a special tool to take it out and push it in.
But you'd like to think every Boxster from this era is okay.
If it's here now.
Because it's either had it done or
it's just
okay from factory.
So anyway, to the point of these higher mileage cars aren't less reliable. And we're talking about wet belt. This has chains.
Yeah.
So the belts ain't going to snap.
Yeah.
But there's another thing, and it might be the other thing, because I have this conversation with people sometimes, and they go, "Oh, it's got to be." I don't even know what the cut-off is, and it's something to do with road tax. Oh, it's got to be newer than 2017 or something, 2015. I don't know, whatever it is.
Well, there's another date in the mid 2000s where there's a switch. I want to say 2004 or 2005. Right. If you're on the wrong side of that with the wrong engine, you get hammered with tax for no reason.
Who do you get hammered? Are we talking about CRV? I've just had a tax reminder.
I've
Go
just
on,
had my.
I
one.
saw it on the table.
You see,
What is it?
Terrible.
Have a guess for the year.
2 litre petrol, isn't it? What year is it?
06? Yeah. 2006.
Realistic guess, I think 360,
More.
380,
More.
4, 2, 5, 450.
450. 450 quid. The car's worth probably £1,000, but again, I
But
say
it
they're
shouldn't be.
undervalued.
Yeah, it shouldn't be.
And here's the point, and I know a lot of people go, ah, yeah, you see, that's stuff like that. But okay, hang on. Consider, what are you going to do? You're going to buy a newer car on finance. It's going to lose thousands in a year. You're going to lose thousands in interest payments. And you're saying that £450 a year tax on something it means that it's not. I mean, come on, the maths are easy.
You're getting penalised. Sorry, Ben.
Yeah,
You're getting penalised for keeping an old car, a great old car on the road. Sorry, Ben.
Well, I was just going to say, just looping it back to what we were talking about before, the newer car used to have the benefit of being reliable and you wouldn't have to repair it. But now that's in the balance. So you might go for the newer car and you might not even benefit from that. You might have to chuck £1,000 at it.
When we go back to the Honda again, I mean, we're in different territory and we're learning these things, and they famously need to be looked after, let's say. That Honda just doesn't. It just never, ever lets me down.
I've had a CRV. It was an older one than the one out there. It was the first generation. It just wouldn't die. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Did you try?
Yeah, I was trying. At one point, I was trying to pull a tree stump out the garden with it, just absolutely hammering it, and it just refused to die, refused to quit. Just
Brilliant. Everyone needs a CRV.
But yeah, and I think there's actually in that genre of car, that kind of like utility vehicle, the older stuff's way more utility. Like the original CRVs look like they can tackle some off-roading.
Well, you can park it where you want, and you don't have to worry about it.
I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think I liken it to Land Rovers as well. Old Land Rover, I used to love. I had an old Land Rover years and years and years ago. Absolutely loved it, and to get in it.
The Defender.
It was a long wheelbase, old ex-army Land Rover.
Yeah.
And to climb in it, we used to literally jump on it and jump into the seats when it didn't have the roof on it.
Let's stick with Land. Go on. Sorry.
And whereas the new ones.
Yeah.
You can't scratch it, can you?
I'm going to have another go at Land Rover. Do we have a legal team? Just make sure that we don't get into trouble. I'm going by. Jeff Buys Cars hasn't been sued yet.
So no, I think we should be okay.
I think we should be okay. I'm only talking about that. So, I always say about the CRV. And the sort of era it is, it's kind of when the Freelander came back, because Land Rover wanted to, they had the Defender, then they had the Discoveries, and obviously they got the Range Rover brand, but they wanted to get something that was a bit small. This crossover, I think they called it then, not SUV, wasn't it? It was this crossover brand. So they made the sort of baby Freelander. Not many people have got much good to say about them.
When was the
That's how I'm
last
gonna
time
put
you
it.
saw a
You don't
Freelander?
even see them very often anymore, do you?
No.
And I always just said about the CRV, it's like, you thought you wanted the Freelander. This actually was the car that you wanted. But what it's not got is a Land Rover badge, and it wanted a Land Rover badge. I mean, if you change the style and put a Land Rover badge on it, that's the car you wanted.
Yeah.
And you don't even know about them. You don't even notice them.
Yeah.
So I got another thing about Land Rover, and this is the personal story, and I've been ripped off by somebody, actually. But I've thought about it a bit, and I think it's half intentional and half not. There's a thing called a Haldex.
Yeah, I don't know much about this either, so I'm in the same boat as you.
I don't even know about it. I don't really know. It's some sort of, it's part of the four-wheel drive or sequential gearbox mechanism. Somebody tell us what a Haldex is. But they are, I don't know if they're prone to failure, but if they do fail, there's a problem.
It's
and
not a
here's,
digital thing, is it? Because it sounds digital. It's
no,
it's
it's definitely a mechanical
parts,
thing.
In a CRV or
No,
any,
no,
No.
any
And
4x4?
it's kind of differential unit of some kind,
Okay.
actually. And it's a key component of Freelanders as the Evoque and stuff like that. Anyway, we've got friends in Germany, and they find it very hard to get hold of Land Rover parts. And they got an Evoque there that they wanted to get a Haldex unit for. And they'd asked me to see if I could find one in the UK, and we got the part number and everything. And great, I put it in eBay, and actually I could find plenty of them, this part number. And we got it. It was actually a great unit. They took it back over there, and it was the wrong one. And here's the first bit of craziness. It seems that Land Rover have got the same part number for a completely different part. So that's where, yeah, no, something about, if it's a Gen 1 to the 2, then it's even though it's the same part number, it's a completely different part. Anyway, this particular, so we go through that. So I send this back to this guy, and it was nice, refurbished unit, really nice. We sent it back to him, and he says, we'll find another. And we've gone on for a year of me messaging this guy and him saying...
I didn't know it was the same guy then.
Yeah. For a year of me messaging him saying it, and he kept saying to me, oh no, I think we found one. Oh, sorry, that one's not worked. Anyway, I got to the point when I thought this guy's just...
How much was it?
He stopped replying to me, and I thought this boy, 600 quid. I thought this guy's just ripped me off, eventually. And I did, as you do sometimes, I just looked into the company then, and I could see their financial returns over the last few years, and I thought, nah, these guys are struggling. I thought, it's not an honourable thing that they've done by not communicating with me, but I've sort of thought, because then I did this. I spoke to the specialist in this, a company called Bell Engineering in the UK, and they specialise in these units and related units with Land Rovers and Range Rovers. And I spoke to this guy on the phone, and he was like, right, well, what's wrong with it? I said, well, don't know exactly, because this friend over there, blah, blah, blah. He said, well, if you bring it in, we can say, well, that's in Germany, I can't, it's not going to be possible. I said, can we not buy one? He says, we can't get them. You're just not going to be able to get hold of one. I'm like, oh gosh. I said, is there an option that we send you this one and you can refurb it? I said, really, I don't want to touch them. It's like, so really, it feels now like we've got stung by something that really ought to be, what's Land Rover doing? This is a 2014 Evoque. What?
Yeah, that's bonkers. I mean, I've had it with the 190 where I've gone into Merc and I've gone for some pretty simple parts. There was something really... Oh, air filter. Don't do it anymore. And you just think, well, I was expecting everyone loves a 190E. They'll do it still. No. You kind of expect it maybe at over 30 years old. You think, well, there's probably not that many of them left. They probably won't bother with it. But there have been a few things where I've just been surprised no one does them. And there's these little plastic, injector, the injectors sit in this little plastic housing thing inside the rubber gasket.
Injector seal.
Yeah, it's not such much. It's a seal. It's like I don't know, the seal, and then there's a little bit of plastic, and then the injector. That little bit of plastic, can't get it from Mercedes. Can't get it anywhere. There's just none of them left. No one's making them. For such a simple, cheap little part, you just think someone somewhere would make. It's crazy to think that that's happening on a 2014.
It is. Well, we talked a lot about Mercedes, haven't we? In that, you own a 190E, which is the Bruno Sacco era Mercedes, and not controversial to say that is the best, right? They're the best cars, the Bruno Sacco. Yeah. And immediately after that, the next wave of them, and I do know you have an E-Class of that era, which actually is broke today.
It has, yeah. It has, yeah. And that E-Class I've got is probably, it ticks all the boxes in terms of which one you would want if you were going to get one in that era, and it's still. Yeah.
But there was this era, wasn't there, where they went into that, and it's those early C, because the 190E becomes the C class then, doesn't it, in the next iteration. It's like those early ones, you see the odd one, you don't see many, and they should still be more, but that's when the quality of Mercedes really plummeted in that era. We might get sued. Before we do get sued, I want to compliment, again, Porsche, not just because I'm a Porsche fanboy, although I am, but because there's a whole division of Porsche Classic, and they've got this whole sort of. You look at a Porsche parts catalogue, they have superseded parts. So you get a part number and say that part number is superseded by it. They improve the parts on old cars that they'll sell you today, and they have a whole classics division.
I might be wrong here, but I think Volkswagen are in that same club as well. I think they have a classics department. I think if you have an old camper van or something, you can get a brand new engine to the old spec.
Oh, brilliant.
From Volkswagen.
Amazing,
you just buy one on a crate, pop it in. It's a shame not everyone's doing that. I thought Mercedes would, but there's a lot of things that aren't available anymore, and it seems like that's kind of the trend with a lot of manufacturers. But props to Porsche and maybe VW if that is the case, or maybe I've just made that up. Who knows?
We'll find out.
We'll find out in the comments.
We'll find out in the comments. A lot of what we've gone on about, I really do want this counter argument. I mean, I do. I don't know many people with electric cars. I don't know what that says, but I do know some.
We've never even driven one, to be honest, but we really want to.
I've never driven one.
I've driven one.
Oh, have you?
I drove my car went in for repairs, and they gave me a little mini Cooper S, and it was all electric.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, I mean, a Cooper S is not electric. What?
No, the one that they gave me was
I know.
I'm just. It even had the green stripe on the.
I know what you mean. I'm just. Oh, it's sort of it's sacrilege. It's just
My wife had a real Mini Cooper S.
No, she didn't. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay. She had a newer generation Cooper S.
The BMW.
The BMW one. Sorry, everyone. But yeah, it was all right.
They're quite good cars.
It was all right.
They are good cars.
I must say.
The
acceleration
different
was
engine variants that.
No, I mean the electric one was all right.
Oh,
the
right.
acceleration was awesome. But it had no feeling, it had no noise, it had loads of things you could do on this big screen in the middle that I really didn't want to play
presume that has a big round screen.
Yeah, big round screen, and you could change it into different colours and different whatever.
Right.
It was alright, I was really happy to get my car back, to be fair. Very happy.
Yeah. I forgot even what we were talking about.
Driving electric cars, I haven't. I've been a passenger in one. I don't think I drove that. That was a Tesla. Yeah. I've had a lot of, I don't know what my face says when this happens. I've had a lot of people sort of say, "Oh, I've got a new Tesla," and then want to show it me, and I'm like, well, actually, a few different electric cars like that, and they're like,
surely it just looks like
there was one guy. There was one guy. This is what it was. One guy got. It's a car that actually I like the style of, and it's based on it's a Honda, and it's based on an old Honda. It's quite a squarey looking car.
Oh yes, I've seen those.
Honda One or something.
Yeah.
Like
they look quite retro.
Honda City, that might be it. I quite like the look of it. Yeah, I quite like the look of it. Anyway, it's sort of going on. I'm like, They said, no, let me show you. And we got in it, and all they did. Is he went, look at this. And he turned the dashboard into a tropical fish tank.
The whole dashboard?
Yeah.
So the dashboard is a screen?
Yeah. Well, it's a bit like yours, the BMW thing. It's just, And it was tropical fish, and he was like, I'm like...
Well, that's not
that's so cool.
What's it like to drive?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So yeah, there's a bit of gimmickry. All right, let's wrap it up there because there's lots more for us to talk about. We'll get into all sorts of. There's plenty more fish in the cars, yeah.
And hopefully we'll be a bit more polished next time.
But
we just want to
probably
get
not.
this out there and get something on. But
Right, let's wrap it up. Thanks, guys.
thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. You've been amazing.
Yeah.
We've been okay, I
Average.
think. Subscribe, tune in again, or don't, whatever you want to do, and add a comment. Keep them running.
Keep them running.
See you next time.
Peace out.